Hello! Hello! Fancy seeing you here for episode 7 of season 1 of the British English podcast. I feel like we've come a long way together. We're coming towards the end of season 1. Can you believe it? This episode is a conversation between myself and my YouTube partner / great friend Harry. And we go for a combo of culture and language. This podcast, it does exactly what it says on the tin. And if you get that phrase, then I'm very impressed. It'll take a while to explain that one, so I'll save that one for the Academy. But yes, we talk about the common idioms we use in our day-to-day lives that are based on a sport that has had a huge impact on our culture and even cultures around the world. And, of course, the English language. It's a particularly funny one, so please don't listen to this when maybe lifting weights, as that could cause serious injuries, I imagine. And if you're on public transport, then get ready for some awkward glances as you're going to look like the nutter on the bus, laughing at nothing, especially if you've got an inconspicuous solitary AirPod tucked away in the ear that is hidden from your fellow travellers. They're going to think you're crazy. But hold on, I think I can tell there's someone here listening for their first time. I don't know who these people think they are. You know, coming in so late into the season. You're ruining it for everybody else. So just do us all a favour and go to episode 1 of season 1. It's where it all began. It's where we all started. So yes, that's where I'd like you to go. Thank you. Oh, sorry about that. Embarrassing to get all strict like that in front of you, the true British English podcast listener who started from the beginning of the season with me. So, yes, here we are at the penultimate episode of season 1. I've thoroughly enjoyed making it, and I hope you have enjoyed consuming it. Has it been a huge amount of work? Yes, way more work than I had ever anticipated. The Academy content takes so much time to make, but I think it's worth it because it is incredibly valuable, and I'm getting amazing feedback from learners who are in there now, diving deep into the usage of the language I expose you to in these episodes with videos, quizzes, transcripts, and many more resources. So yeah, do me a favour. If you haven't gone to the website yet, thebritishenglishpodcast.com, and signed up for free to get a taster of the Academy, then please do. It's a win-win situation. You'll get a lot from it, and if you like it, then you have a whole season of Academy content to enjoy for an affordable price. And also, I should say, this is a non-sponsored podcast, and it's the only way we will get to see a season 2. So yes, head over there, try the free sample, learn a lot, and then decide if you want to help make season 2 happen, whilst getting access to the whole season 1 Academy content. It's a no-brainer. Really is. But enough about the Academy, and on with the show. The show that helps English learners around the world discover British culture along with useful language that natives are actually using day to day with me, your host, Charlie Baxter. That is Charlie. Charlie Baxter. That's how I say my name. As I said, we have an episode with Harry that was actually recorded back in late 2019, pre-COVID. Oh, those were the days. But it was during the Great Fires in Australia. Do you remember that? Do you remember that moment? I had students telling me to swiftly pack up my bags and leave the country because they thought I was going to burn to a crisp. Yes, gladly I can report that I did not, and I lived to tell the tale. Or at least edit and publish a tale that was recorded during that time. That doesn't work, does it? Noting down to remember to cut this part out. Yep. Okay, so I was saying, what are we waiting for, hey? Let's get on with the episode.
Hello, Charlie. How are you doing over there in sunny and, well, sadly burning Australia? How are things over there?
It is hot. It is getting hot up in here. Yes.
Yeah. It's heating up.
It's
you could
heating
say,
up.
couldn't you?
Yes, it's heating up. It's getting hot up in here. That was what I meant. It's getting hot up in here. There we go.
Well, are you referencing the Nelly song?
I am, yes. Am I not allowed to now because of the whole, documentary that came out?
That wasn't Nelly. That was R. Kelly. Don't start spreading rumours about Nelly being a sex offender.
I've stopped listening to Nelly.
I'm never listening to Hot Up in. He's fine. He's not a paedophile or any kind of sex offender. Well, to my knowledge, don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
He might be a sex offender. Just waiting to come out.
Right. Oh, okay. My mistake. God, I've been listening to R. Kelly non-stop.
But that song, though, Getting Hot, do you want to just sing a little bit of that to introduce the episode? It's not very crickety, is it?
It's not, and I also think it should be over to the person who can actually sing a little bit. So why don't you give us a rendition?
It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes. I am getting so hot, I'm gonna take my clothes off. Great song, but we're not here to talk about sex offenders or taking our clothes off. We're here to talk about a very British sport, and that is the sport of cricket. Cricket.
Yes, cricket. Way! Yeah. Okay, so immediately I want to say, straight off the bat, I want to say that some people might think sports, I'm not very interested. I don't want to know about it. I don't do sports. I'm an adult. I go to work. I don't actually do much activity outside of, my day-to-day life like that. So for you guys, this is still interesting. It's very interesting because it's cultural. Cricket is a huge part of British culture, and to not know anything about that sport will leave you guessing in some conversations, will leave you unaware of some background knowledge and pop culture in England. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I say it's not important to know everything there is to know about cricket. You don't need to know the rules. You just need to know that it's there and it is an important part of cricket of British culture, and it has influenced our culture massively, and the other countries that the British Empire had as a part of its empire. So it is good to know that, and to know the language that has come from the sport, because it has influenced the British English so much. So in this lesson, you're going to learn loads of expressions that actually come from cricket and that we use in our day-to-day English speech. So you're really going to benefit from this podcast episode.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I've just noticed that coming to Australia, it's the same sport, but it's a different culture. And I'm noticing significant differences towards the sport. And I do wish I knew a little bit about their side of it, because it would allow me to have more conversations with Aussies. I'd be able to, feel more comfortable in their environment.
Oh, that's cool. So you've met some cricket players or cricket fans in Australia.
Cricket is, I would say it's actually bigger here. It's more widespread. In England, I think cricket is based around people who consider themselves to be middle class in England.
Yeah.
And then other classes and other people from different interests or different backgrounds sort of sign off on it. Sign off meaning aren't interested. They don't care too much about it. But in Australia, it seems like everyone talks about it, and everyone the people who don't play it still talk about it, and it's still really popular. It's actually cooler. It's like cool to play cricket here. In England, I don't think it's cool to play cricket. It's
not, and it's not cool to talk about cricket. You don't see a big group of guys sitting in the pub talking about cricket. At least not young guys. I would say maybe if you're like over 40, you might engage in conversations about cricket. and take an interest in it. But it's not really something that young people are into, is it, here in the UK?
No, really not. And yeah, and in a pub in Australia, you would definitely hear people talking about cricket. And yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah,
that is. Yeah, here the young people are going to be talking about football, aren't they? That's what people talk about here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
crazy and about football.
We'll do an episode on football, but we might need to bring someone in.
I think we'll have to get a real man in for that one. But anyway, let's try and talk about cricket. So if you've never heard of cricket, you don't know what it is. Maybe you've seen some pictures of some old English men standing around in a field holding a bat, wearing white clothing. They are playing cricket, and it's a sport which is kind of similar to baseball. Would you say so, Charlie? It's a batting sport. Someone throws a ball put in a very simple way. Someone throws a ball at a kind of target, which we call the wicket, and then someone holding a bat. This person holding the bat is called the batsman, and he will hit the ball, and then he will run back and forth and score points for his team. Would you say that's a very nice simplified version of the game, Charlie?
That is, yes. Did you take time revising that, or is that just your own attempt here and now?
I just did that on the spur of the moment. So spontaneously.
Spontaneously, yes. On the spur of the moment.
I'm that good.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, so you've got the bowler, the batsman, and then a couple of other key players. I'm a bit biased because during my childhood, I was bent down, squatting down for the majority of a cricket game, behind the batsman. What position would that be, Harry?
So you're the wicket keeper. Wicket keeper.
Wicket keeper, yes. I was
or the wiki. Could you just call him the wiki?
The wiki. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm a wiki. Yeah.
Okay. Why was that an unfortunate place to be?
It wasn't an unfortunate place to be.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
No, that's where I spent most of my childhood, bent down behind the batsman.
Looking at the batsman's arse?
Well, more like his thigh, because it's side on.
Okay. Did he have good thighs?
Unfortunately, you couldn't really tell because of the pads. So you've probably, if you've never seen, we're going to assume that you've never seen a match of cricket. So the batsman is padded from pretty much head to toe, isn't he?
Mm. Yeah, because the ball's really hard. You don't want to get that in the goolies.
Very good. And the goolies are the male genitalia. Yeah. So you don't want to be hit in the goolies with the cricket ball. And that's why you wear a box. You put that in front of your goolies. And I remember when I was young, I was playing with some girls as well. And I was like, you don't need to wear a box. And then the coach was like, no, they do. They do need to wear a box. So it's important to protect both genders' genitalia. It's not a sexist game.
No. And if you said to the girls, hey, you're not getting a box because you don't have, male genitalia, they might respond to that and say, hey, that's not cricket. Might they?
Very good.
And that is our first idiom of the day, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Take it away, Harry. Be cricket, right?
Yeah, to be cricket. Often used in the negative, and it means to play fair. And if we use it in the negative, it means you're not playing fair. So saying to the girls, hey, you can't have a box. Your genitalia is not or are not worth protecting. That would not be cricket. So you can say, that is not cricket. Hey, don't do that. That's not cricket. That is not playing fair. This is a phrase that I can imagine like our parents may be using. I can especially imagine Charlie's dad maybe using it. But you don't hear it much nowadays. So there are other idioms coming along which are more modern. But it's still interesting to hear these old ones, isn't it?
Definitely. Yeah. Okay. So, both kids are going to have a box, and they'll have pads on their shins, and they kind of go above their knees. And then you've got a helmet as well, which is a new age thing.
Okay. Oh, well, I wonder when they started wearing helmets.
I think when they started realising that you can get brain damage from a cricket ball.
I mean, surely they found that out quite soon, like quite early on.
Yeah, but you know how it must have been. Like, you know, they to compare it to going to war or something like that, it was probably fine.
It's similar. It's kind of. I mean, a ball is probably almost
Harry,
as hard as a
do
bullet.
you understand what war is?
But I mean, they throw that ball very hard, and sometimes it bounces quite high, and it could hit them in the head. You'd think that this game started in England in the early 18th century, according to my reading, and I reckon. Right. Very soon after that, someone must have got hit in the head with a ball, and they must have thought, that is bloody hard. He's dead. And they must have started wearing helmets. I mean, that's crazy not to wear a helmet, isn't it? It's insane. It's so hard. You can't squeeze it. It's the hardest ball you've ever felt.
Yeah, it's actually harder than a baseball. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Right. So it's different from baseball in that sense as well.
Yeah, but similar. They have a backstop instead of the wiki. But yeah, you're right. They should have learned fairly quickly. But I think it was an age where they didn't care too much about health and safety. We've grown up in a world where health and safety has gone crazy. I think
it's true.
We live in a nanny. Well, in Australia, they say we live in a nanny state.
A nanny state.
A nanny state. Yeah, the government in the state are very controlling, and they make sure that you are very aware of your health and safety.
Okay, like you're just too aware of it. They're living too carefully.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So it's an interesting sport. Did you play it much in school?
Yeah. It was really popular in my school. It was almost as big as football for us, but I think that probably says something about my school.
Yes, it does. Yeah, and so it's known as a gentleman's sport, cricket. So it tends to be played by like the upper classes, and it's a weird sport because normally when you play a sport, it takes place over a couple of hours, or if it's football, an hour and a half. Rugby's around that as well, but cricket's different. It can be played over a number of days, which is mad. So whenever I go to watch cricket, I think, when is it going to end? Like some cricket games go on for like 4 days, don't they?
Yeah, and you know what? They can end up as a draw.
Oh my God.
How boring.
That is so boring, isn't it? It's crazy.
But recently they've responded to that, and they've created a quick version called 2020. And I don't want to get into it too much.
Okay.
But it means that there's just 20 overs, and an over is 6 bowls.
6 bowls. And a bowl is when you throw the ball at the wicket to try to get the batsman out.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Or from my standing, it's 6 attempts to catch the ball.
Okay. After it's been hit, or if it's grazed the bat of the batsman.
Oh, yeah, that would be the best. If it's grazed the bat of the batsman, pressure's on for me.
That's a good one. Were you a good wicket keeper?
I was regional, so...
You were representing a regional cricket squad?
I was, yeah. I was spotted in year 7. So I was 13. And then I was given the chance to play for West Surrey, which is... Surrey is the county that I live in. I didn't get any higher than that, but I felt like, I am very cool.
My God. I bet you were so happy when you saw that I decided this cricket was the subject of today's talk.
I was over the moon. Yeah, it really was.
It's your chance to shine.
But I must confess, I did feel out of my depth in this pool of talent. There were a couple of other wicket keepers in the squad, and they were way better than me. And I was actually a really bad batsman.
I was very, very bad, actually. Yeah. I just kind of clung on to the fact that I was selected for that team, but I never really performed very well. I think most of my school friends, they even knew that I didn't deserve to be playing for this regional team.
Okay. But you were a good wicket keeper. That's why you were there.
Yeah, and when you play cricket for a different team, you get a cap of their colours. A bit like the football kit, you get a cap because everyone wears whites, so you don't get a different uniform in traditional cricket.
Okay.
So you get a cap, a hat,
Okay.
baseball cap kind of thing. And I used to have this red West Surrey cap, and I used to show up to my school, and I'd be wearing that, and they'd be like, "You wanker."
Oh my God. And that was cool because you were like playing for a regional team. Did you get a lot of female attention for being, the regional wicket keeper for West
See,
Surrey?
if I was in Australia, maybe I would, but in England, it doesn't score you many points with the ladies.
No, it doesn't. No. I can't. I imagine in my school you would have been bullied for wearing that hat.
Well, I wasn't far off being bullied in my school, and this was a school that respected cricket.
Yeah, we won't go into the nicknames that Charlie had as a kid. I think that can be a whole different episode all about that. But to be spotted, Charlie, what does that mean? To be spotted?
To be seen by, potentially in this case, someone who wants to collect some good people, some talented people. Yeah.
Yes.
But you could be spotted as a celebrity by paparazzi or by the public. And I remember my favourite day in my life was when we got spotted in Brighton for our YouTube channel.
Oh, that's amazing.
That was maybe my favourite day of my life.
Best day ever. That was amazing. Yes, yeah. We were spotted in a restaurant by two people. Can you believe it? That was amazing. And you felt out of depth as well. That's really good. Out of depth. That's when you feel uncomfortable in a situation because you think you're not good enough, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. I think I say out of my depth.
Sorry. Did I say out of depth? Out of my depth, yes.
But you wrote out of my depth, yeah. So out of my depth, or are you like, if someone goes to a new job, you could maybe ask, do you feel out of your own depth? Could you say that? Out of your own depth?
Out of your depth.
Out of your depth. Just out of your depth.
Yeah.
And
I guess it would come from like swimming, right? Like if you're in really deep waters, it can be uncomfortable and difficult to swim. So you are out of your depth because you can't swim properly. You're struggling in the company. You can't get by because it's so hard. Everyone's so good. Well, you're not good enough. Anyway, it's considered a gentleman's sport. Charlie is a gentleman. There's no doubt about that. He's a middle-class man. And as it was made as a gentleman's sport, it was played by these upper classes from society. And it's not a very physically demanding sport, I don't think, anyway. Like, I've watched cricket a few times, and it's one of the few sports where the players are often overweight. And it's just it's not a problem that they're overweight. They don't have to be exceptionally fast. They can still be quite competent even when they're, if they're a few pounds overweight, it's not a problem.
Exactly, yeah. A few pounds overweight, that's nice. A few pounds overweight. A polite way of saying that you're slightly fat.
Yes. But I have actually seen some cricket players who are they're huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter.
You're right. But I think it might be because, you know, the upper class back in the day, they were the ones that were able to eat whatever they wanted. They would stuff their faces and then go play a bit of cricket and then get back to the beer.
They would, yeah. And the beer, that goes kind of hand in hand with beer drinking, doesn't it? That's quite a thing. If you go and watch the cricket, like my friend William, he's very middle class as well, wouldn't they? Like William, he goes to the beer and he goes to the cricket with a crate of beer, and they sit in the audience drinking lots of cans, and I think that goes well with the cricket. Just sitting around all day, drinking beer, preferably in the sun, maybe in the rain.
Yeah, that's the thing in England. It's often difficult to find 4 days back to back where the sun is shining. So you might get a ticket to go and see a game of Australia versus England, and one of those days will probably be rained off.
To be rained off. Very good. So you can't play because it's raining. To be rained off. So our game was rained off. Did you have many games that were rained off back in your cricket days?
I did, yeah. And it was, you could just say it was simple, like if it was raining, then you'd cancel it. But people would take it really seriously, and they would look at the wicket. So the wicket...
Can you describe the wicket? What is the wicket? Because we said that word quite a lot. What is a wicket?
The wicket is the 22-yard strip. 22 yards is like 24 meters. And it's the area that you throw the ball down between the batsman and the bowler, and it bounces. So it's got to be really, really smooth, but it's traditionally made of grass. So the groundsman has a difficult job to prepare this wicket over the season, because it gets a battering through the cricket season. Battering, like a damage. It gets a lot of damage based on the activity on it. And then it's got to repair over the off season. And then, when the rain comes, people get all like scientific. They say, it's going to be tricky out there. It's going to be slippery. The ball is going to come faster and lower. You got to watch yourself.
Oh. Yeah. I bet that was a big thing. So you were all watching the clouds and hoping for some good weather.
Yes. Most of the time. When I was at West Surrey, I was sometimes wanting the rain to sort of hide my inability to keep up with them. So, oh no, it's cancelled. See you next week. Do I get another hat?
And we will leave it there for today's podcast episode. But if you want this conversation to continue, we do have part 2 and part 3 waiting for you on my website. So go over to thebritishenglishpodcast.com to get about 30 to 40 more minutes of listening practice in which we go over some more excellent language that has come from the sport that is cricket. And as I said before, I have videos explaining all of the language in this episode, pronunciation practice, a glossary of all intermediate to advanced vocabulary, and quizzes to help you truly retain the information and get more active with the language. And that again is over at thebritishenglishpodcast.com. But there we go, episode 7 complete, and we are now 1 episode away from completing season 1. I look forward to doing so with you in episode 8, and I hope you have enjoyed this experience so far. And if you have, I'm going to suggest that you rate the podcast and leave a review, as it helps others know whether it's worth listening to. And hey, with your help, we might be back for a second season. Come on, let's do it. Let's go for another season, shall we? So get rating and reviewing, and check out my website, thebritishenglishpodcast.com. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Stay active with your English, and bye for now.